Hello and welcome to Unify's webinar on converting Oracle Forms to Java in 11G. This is your host, Matt Brunquell. Before we get started, I want to review a few housekeeping items. For those of you new to Unify, we're a publicly traded software company that's been in business for over 30 years, and we're known for being the first to deliver a relational database in a Unix environment. Since then, we've delivered development software products that run across different databases and platforms, really geared towards building and modernizing business applications, and really geared to the business application developer who places a premium on productivity over low-level coding. Today, our business has expanded beyond database and development products into conversion solutions, as well as archiving of structured and unstructured data, including messaging like email. Now, we encourage questions on the webinar, and the way you do that is use the Q&A button on your WebEx toolbar. It's the button with the question mark. There's also a chat button, but it makes it easier for Peter and I to look in one panel for the questions to make sure we address all of them. Now, I mentioned Peter Stolk, who's one of our senior technical staff in our Oracle practice, and he'll be driving the demo portion today and has plenty of experience working with our customers on Oracle Forms modernization projects. Now, I have to give you an update. We may or may not get the demo from Peter. We had a little hiccup with the person that normally does the demo for this and their system, and so Peter's scrambling and trying to make it happen for us by the time we get to the demo portion. But there's a chance that we won't get it. We'll wait and see. If not, we'll make a recorded version available for you afterwards. But stay tuned on that. And again, if we are able to get to it, we'll get Peter on the line here shortly. So the objective for today's webinar is to provide you with answers to some of the most common areas facing organizations looking to convert their Oracle Forms applications to Java in the 11G application server. Now, we'll start with an introduction that includes an overview of Unify CipherSoft and also just review the Oracle 11G stack that we'll be referring to. And then next, we'll look at the key areas of Forms conversion to Java in 11G. We'll follow this with a demonstration so you can see how easy it can be to convert and deploy an Oracle Forms application into Java. And this will be followed by the Q&A session. So CipherSoft is a wholly owned subsidiary of Unify, and CipherSoft has an established and very successful practice for modernizing Oracle Forms applications. We're a member of the Oracle Modernization Alliance, or OMA, and the OMA, for those of you that don't know, it's an Oracle initiative to help customers modernize their applications and infrastructure. And CipherSoft is the only member of this initiative, the OMA, with a focus on Oracle Forms. Now, customers have built very successful applications in Oracle Forms, but they're looking to modernize them in today's technologies to keep them relevant. And there are several options that include web enabling the application through an upgrade to Forms 11, rewriting the app, or automated conversion. And each has their pros and cons to consider depending on the customer requirements. Now, CipherSoft offers services around all of these options, and choosing the right path of those three is a webinar topic in itself. But for today's webinar, we're going to focus on the conversion option to Java. So before we go into the key areas for conversion to Java in 11G, let's review the Oracle 11G stack for Java applications. This graphic shows the four primary components involved in deployment of Java applications in the 11G middleware. So there's the application server itself, which is based on the BEA WebLogic solution that Oracle owns. The SOA suite includes a framework basically as it implies for SOA. So just for, it's a framework for agile, adaptable, and reusable processes for an SOA approach to your development efforts in this environment. And then the identity management is all about security in the 11G environment. And then the Web Center is the portal platform. Now, at a minimum, customers moving to this 11G infrastructure for their applications will be using the application server. And this is where we'll focus as we discuss Java conversion to 11G. However, assuming we do get the demo ready here, we're also going to show a converted Java application deployed as a portlet in the Web Center, so you can see that additional option, if you will. So what are the keys to a Java conversion in 11G? So a converted application should be as intuitive for the original developers to maintain as it is for new developers who may not have any experience in the original application. So practically speaking, this means that your vendor of choice or your solution that you go with should provide a one-to-one conversion in the code as much as possible. In addition, the impact on the end users of the application need to be considered as well. So reproducing all the functionality of the application is not enough. It needs to behave similarly over in the new environment in order to avoid retraining on the application. This similar behavior really can minimize the risk of user frustration and speed of adoption of the converted application. And what we see time and time again is what customers, why they really kind of go this route is they find that an automated conversion with the similar look and feel really removes much of the risk of moving to the new platform. And then once they get over there, they can set longer range goals for modernizing and refactoring the application in the new platform. But the automated conversion with a similar look and feel lets them get over there very quickly and removes much of the risk. And then longer term, they can look at, okay, how do we really need to refactor and modernize it and take advantage of everything we can in the new environment. Now, this graphic illustrates some of the keys to creating a path for the developers involved in the conversion project, whether the original Forms developers or maybe they come straight from the Java background and don't necessarily know Oracle Forms. So this goes to those key areas of maintaining, getting really all of the business logic in a one-for-one, as well as ensuring that it's going to be easy to maintain. So in addition to producing clean Java code, keeping the file structure of the components and objects organized, much as they were in Oracle Forms, provides a reference point both for the original Forms developers as well as the Java developers that they can follow. So for Oracle Forms developers, an added benefit of this is it eases the learning curve into Java. And for Java developers who really are typically more accustomed to low-level programming, this similar hierarchy and structure of the projects really provides a higher-level view of the complex database-driven business application they might now have to maintain, extend, and manage. And so what you see in this graphic down here is it's just showing that, I'm not sure if my cursor is showing up on this or not, but on the left-hand side of this graphic, you kind of see the project structure of the Forms application in the Forms developer. And, you see the blocks and the objects and triggers, that type of thing. You see that file structure. And then the smaller window on the right-hand side is showing that converted application in JDeveloper. And you can see that same structure for the project and the folders and so forth is the same. So you're able to navigate to, and especially if you have someone that still knows the application, they're going to be able to navigate to and find the various pieces of code, although now when they open them, they'll be in Java, but at least they'll be able to know where to look for things, where to find it, and how to work within the structure of the application. So this illustration shows the various components that make up a Forms application that has been converted to Java in 11G with the Exodus solution. And that's our solution for automated conversion, which we'll show you in the demo. Now, starting on the left-hand side, you can see that there are three options for the presentation layer. So these are, on the presentation layer, a browser using HTML or dynamic HTML. And actually, more specifically, this is an implementation for Oracle's ADF, leveraging the ADF for the presentation layer. The second option is a browser using our Exodus plugin, so it's a lightweight applet, if you will. that can be used in a browser for any browser environment. And the third one is a Java applet without a browser, so just in a desktop. And we actually have some folks, because they still want to have that client server for specific reasons, they want to still maintain that client server, they can do that with our solution. And just so you know, any of these presentation layers can be selected during the conversion process. And even beyond that, you can mix and match these. So you may have different pieces of the application when you convert it that you want to have in a browser-only environment, but it may not make sense to have all of them in a browser environment, and you can mix and match that with this solution. Just so you know, there are some other choices, though, as well for your presentation layer. Just so you know, we have some folks that want a very different look and feel for the converted application right out of the box. Those are the ones that choose not to go for the like-for-like for the initial conversion. And so that is an option using customer-defined templates with the CSS files, or as we're going to show in the demonstration, if we can get it going here, deployment in a portal as well, because once you have this, you can create portlets because it is a Java application that it's converted into. Note, though, that on these two options I just mentioned, the customer-defined templates and the portlets, do require some post-conversion effort prior to the deployment. Those two options are not just automated conversion. Now, the converted application, including the business logic, is deployed as a WAR file to the application server. In this case, we're focusing specifically on the Oracle 11g. Note that when you kind of look at the primary box there in the middle of the illustration, that a couple things kind of to know there is, first of all, the converted application, the way that we've built the Exodus tool to do this conversion, it's using the model view controller structure when it creates this. It's creating a J2EE application. And also, the way the application is broken up, so you can see kind of the four pillars in that main box. It does break up the business logic from the data access layer, from the controller that handles the messaging. The way that it breaks it up really makes it conducive if you have SOA efforts where you may want to package some of the converted code into web services for reuse and integration with other applications, or perhaps on the data access layer, you're trying to create more of an abstract data access layer, if you will, and so you're wanting to pull some of it into that. So there are a lot of things that you can do there. The other thing that I want to mention is if you look at the second pillar in that middle box, second pillar from the left, it says the Oracle Forms Runtime Engine, and you see that express term in there. What we have done is, for those of you that know Oracle Forms, you know that there was this Oracle Forms framework, if you will, that made it the 4GL. I mean, this is why you have some of these very big, complex applications, is you found the productivity of Oracle Forms very attractive because it handled all this stuff for you behind the scenes and all the low-level plumbing, so that you as a business application developer could focus on the business logic, the look and feel of the application, the business processes that you needed to put in there for the business users. So when you convert, whether you convert or rewrite an application in Java, you're going to have to deal with how do you recreate all of that framework. And what we've done is using standard Java classes and methods, we created that framework in Java, and we provide that as part of the application. And you get all of that source code. There's no dependencies on Unify CipherSoft once the application's converted with the tool. So, but that's what if you see that and are wondering what those Express libraries are, that Oracle Form Runtime Engine, it's recreating all of that so you can continue to just focus, if you want, on the business logic and the higher level layers, if you will, of the application. However, again, we provide all of the source code for that So if you want to go in and change, modify, extend the lower level stuff, you get that as part of the package. The other thing that I wanted to point out in this illustration is the communication between the client and the application server. You do have the option to go over HTTPS to meet more stringent security encryption requirements. Some of our customers have those, and so we provide that ability. Well, at this point, we were going to demonstrate the conversion of the Forms application to Java and 11G, but let me just check for a sec and see whether or not I've gotten any notes from Peter as to if he's been able to figure it out. Hold on one sec. Basically, what happened is he was the person that we usually have do these is out, and so Peter offered to do it, but he's having trouble getting into the system and some system issues. So I just want to check and see. So we'll go silent for just a second here, and I'll come back on and let you know. All right, I'm back, and I checked with Peter. It looks like we're not going to be able to do the demo at this moment. By the time he gets it set up now, it takes us a little bit to get the 11G app server and the web center up and going. So he does have access now, but it's just we'd have too much dead time for you on this. So what we'll do is we'll make a recording of it and make it available. In addition to the recorded version of the presentation that I just did. But just to let you know kind of what the demo was about, here's a highlight, some of the key points of really what goes on during the demonstration. What we do is we convert the Oracle Summit application into Java. And we take it from a 6i version and convert it into Java and deploy it into 11G. And for those of you that don't know, the Summit application is an application from Oracle that they use a lot for their training purposes, demo purposes. It's not as complex as some of your Oracle Forms applications out there, but it does have menus and libraries and business logic there in the form. So what we wanted to show you was how with the Exodus solution, we actually convert the entire application. So normally we'd run that through our analyzer to kind of flag any commands and functions that made sense in the client-server structure, but may not have a one-to-one conversion in the Java platform. And but the Summit application doesn't have any of that, so we don't run it through our analyzer. But there is an analyzer that does that. And then we do the full conversion for you and show you how it looks. And we go in and we open up the forms in JDeveloper so you can see the code for the look and feel. And then we actually go into the business logic so you can see what some of the PL SQL code looks like converted, the triggers, and just the business logic. And when you do that, we show you that similar hierarchy and structure of the projects and how everything's brought over, like the comments. The naming convention for everything remains pretty similar. And typically what we do is we show it as a like-for-like in the browser, just so you can see an example of that like-for-like that most of the customers end up going with from a minimizing risk perspective. And then we were going to actually show them the converted app deployed as a portlet into Web Center. So just to give you an idea of it, and just kind of in talking through that, you get an idea for some of the capabilities of the Exodus product. With that, what I'm going to do is open it up for questions. I'm assuming there could be lots of questions since you actually didn't get to see the demo about the capabilities of Exodus, and we're more than happy to answer that and go through that now. So I'll give you a second to post your questions. Again, use the question mark. I see that questions are coming in already. Use that question mark button to post your questions, and we'll start going through them in just 1 second. All right, I'm going to start going through the questions now. The first one is, can you please show us any of the previous recorded versions of the conversion in action? Actually, I'm going to try and have that set up for us while I go through the questions. So we will try and do that so you could actually see a pre-recorded version. I have my administrator trying to call that up on a web page now that will then pipe through the WebEx. So we'll give that a try and see if we can do that. So hang tight on that one. Next question. Hello, converted applications, can they be run in any application server or does it have to be WebLogic? Well, you know, today we're focused on the Oracle 11g WebLogic, but yes, it can be any application server that is J2EE compliant and at least up to, you know, based on JDK 1.5 or JDK 1.6. It can be. So examples, we have customers besides on Oracle application servers or on 11g, we have customers on Oracle 10, Tomcat, IBM WebSphere. So yes, the converted application is pure Java, and again, the way we have deploy it as a WAR file, it can be deployed into almost any application server that will take a J2EE application or a WAR file. All right, next question. Let me scroll down. Can the converted application be integrated with single sign-on? Yes, it can. It's not automatic. There might be a little bit that you have to do with it, but absolutely. Next question. This one is actually from an existing customer. How do we choose, is it possible to select the example between the top link or EJBs? I believe it is. I'm not technical, so but we can put you in contact with our one of our technical resources to answer that. And for those of you that don't recall it, if you look at that architecture illustration in the presentation on the data access layer, there were some things regarding EJBs and top link. So there is a way to select one of those. I couldn't tell you, the technical steps, if you will, how to do that. But that's probably more suited anyway as a one-on-one support call since that's from an existing customer. Probably not as appropriate for a webinar. Next question. Does Exodus handle the conversion of Oracle reports? The answer to that is no. Actually, Exodus just converts the forms application itself, although it does everything. It does the forms, the menus, the libraries. Although there are some commands that it doesn't handle in the Forms app, but it doesn't automate the conversion of the reports. What customers typically do there is one of a couple different things. One is they maintain their reports in Oracle Reports, and those can still be called from the converted Java application. In fact, there's actual commands in Oracle Forms for calling the Oracle Reports, and those do get converted into Java. And there's things that, as part of the conversion process, that helps address that. Other folks, though, will choose they want to have their reports into more of a web-centric type of reporting solution, like Oracle's BI Publisher, or something from Cognos, or Crystal, which is part of Business Objects, which is part of SAP now. And that's absolutely an option as well, but those have to be rewritten. We've done that as part of a conversion project for someone that wants it. It's not, but at the end of the day, it's a rewrite with services. All right, next question. Is the Exodus solution licensed as a tool, or is it just a service? We offer it as an option either way. So some folks actually license the Exodus tool. We offer that, and the way it's licensed is per form that you want to convert. Although if you have a very, very large amount of forms, and we have some customers that do, that they want to convert, the pricing gets adjusted accordingly if you're doing a large volume and you're committing to that large volume with the tool. But we do offer it as a service as well. So some folks don't want to invest in the tool. They just want someone to do the conversion for them. And we'll do that with the Exodus tool. And because it's so automated, it gives us the ability to do a fixed price bid. What we do is we run it through our analyzer, which is what I was touching on during the description of the demo, so we can tell you exactly how long it'll take and what the cost will be as a fixed price for the service. And by the way, even if you license the tool, we'll run it through the analyzer for you as well, so you still can get a feel for what kind of effort would be involved, even if you're going to use your own resources to staff it. All right, hold on. There's some more questions coming in. Let me see here. How about forms using WebUtil to interact with user desktop? Can it be deployed like dynamic HTML, or does it have to be an applet? There actually are some different things that can be done there. And since you mentioned the WebUtil, if you recall during the presentation, I made a reference to the analyzer flagging functions and commands that don't have a one-to-one conversion from client-server into the kind of Java or web-centric or N-tier type of environment. And WebUtil is a very good example of that. Actually, the analyzer will flag those WebUtils to determine, okay, what are they doing in each case, and in the client-server side of your application, and then what's the best approach to converting it in Java. So in some cases, like if you go the DHTML route, there will be some manual effort involved after the conversion around those to determine the best solution for that. And we have some examples of what we've done for clients with that. So whether you use this as a service or use a tool, we provide that for you. So we can give you some guidance on that. But there are some things like that's a very good example of something. All right, that's very inherent to client server. Now that you're going over to the web-based, what's the best way to handle it? And I would say that there's probably, on average, with our automated conversion tool, on average, I would say that you're going to run into about 15% of the project is going to be involved around those types of things that you're going to have to make some decisions on after the automated conversion. We get lucky on some where there's very few, or just because they were on an even older version than 6i, like the 3i, where it was actually server-centric to begin with. It never even really went client, where the conversion's like 90, 95%. But In cases like this, it could be more like 85%. Next question. Converted logic, can it be stored as rules? I'm not sure I quite understand that question. If you can expound upon that a little bit more, I'll see if I can answer it. It may just be I'm not technically deep enough, but expound on it a little more. I'll see if I can understand the question, what you're trying to get at, and answer it for you. Next question. Is the 11G version already released? Can we have it to test? Again, I guess this is from an existing customer. So 11G from Oracle is already out there, obviously. In fact, it was released about a year ago. And then in terms of our solution, handling conversions to 11G, yes, we're using that in projects right now. So that's, again, something that you can follow up with your representative on. And, based on what you're trying to do and why, more than happy to make an arrangement on that. So a little more explanation, using a rules engine instead of fixed logic. I guess it depends on the rules engine. What Exodus does when it converts the business logic, it's converting it into Java. So if your business rules engine if there's a way to feed in the converted Java into your rules engine so that it's not fixed logic, then yes. But it's not. Certainly, our automated conversion isn't integrated in with some rules engine to where it's going to feed directly into a rules engine. It's converting it. It's converting the business logic, doing a one-to-one conversion wherever possible into Java. Next question. I'm upgrading my e-business suite to 12, which means I have to move to the 11G app server. Can I convert my custom forms in this environment with Exodus? Absolutely. In fact, we have several customers where, by nature of upgrading into the e-business suite 12, they have these custom forms of theirs that they've built kind of around their e-suite environment, if you will. And because they're upgrading, they have to move those custom forms up to the 11G environment. And some of them, you can upgrade that into just Forms 11G, or you can convert them to Java. And a lot of times they decide they want to convert them to Java at that point. And you can do that with this tool. I mean, really, the key thing is if you own the rights to the source code, you can use the Exodus tool, or we can use the Exodus tool to do the conversion. Certainly, we wouldn't be converting the actual e-business suite forms, if you don't have the rights to that source code. That's not something that we would do, or that you should do. All right, next question. How much is the product? If you're going to buy the tool, it's licensed, as I mentioned, on a performance basis. And again, it just depends on the number of forms and so forth. What I would suggest is we have a representative follow up with you on the pricing specifics so we can see what your environment is like. Just to give you a feel, though, the minimum price you're typically looking at is $10,000. That's including maintenance and training and a minimum number of forms, if you will. But I would say probably the average someone's looking at for their projects is under $100,000. But again, we have some big projects, and they do a small initial pilot, and then they commit to several hundred forms. In which case you are looking at a six-figure type of deal. Again, it just depends on what the number of forms are that you're trying to get to, but we'll have a rep follow up with you and explain the pricing model to you in more detail. All right, I don't see any other questions at this point. Continue to post them. Let me check with my administrator and see if we can show I'm going to go silent for just a sec. We'll see if we can show the recorded demo for you now, the recorded version. All right, we're trying to bring it up right now. Just while we do that, let me just summarize for you here before we go into the recorded demo for you. Actually, we may be switching over to it right now. Hold on. You may hear audio. What we do is we record all of our webinars, including this one. And what I'm going to be doing is we just brought up one of our pre-recorded webinars, and so what I need to do is just, once we have it running here, you might hear a little audio, and then I just need to forward it to the recorded demo portion, because you don't want to go through another presentation from me. So just hang tight for one sec. The recorded voice you're hearing is Lorraine Ruddy. She's the one who did this demo last time. What they're actually hearing? Okay. It's not showing right. It should be. Okay, back on. We were trying to get the recorded part to show. It's just not working very well, so we'll just arrange to get you a recorded version of the demo so you can view it. If you can't wait for that, you can find recorded pre-recorded versions of previous webinars with the demo on it on our website at CipherSoftInc.com. So just to give you a summary for today, what the Exodus solution does when converting Forms apps to Java and 11G, it does a full conversion of the Oracle Forms app, including the business logic and the data access, in addition to the presentation layer. Our customers typically see a 90% reduction in project time versus their estimates for a rewrite. As I mentioned, this maintains the structure and hierarchy of the Oracle Forms project in Java. So this gives a much shorter learning curve for Oracle Forms developers that are going to be required to still maintain and extend the Java code. Some code may need to be manually modified to duplicate the Oracle Forms functionality, in the client-server world over in the Java world. We kind of talked about that in the Q&A. As I mentioned, the average is 15%, which still beats a rewrite, but it could be a lot less. Again, depending on how inherent is the client-server code, if you will, that you've done in your application. But we can run that through the analyzer and sit down and give you a feel for that so you know what you're going into before you would commit to the product. We want to thank you for participating today. Again, apologize that we couldn't show the demo. We just had a last-minute thing come up for the person who was supposed to do the demo, and we tried to scramble and adjust. We just couldn't make it happen. Because of the specifics that had been set up on their machine and for the 11G in the portal. Just so you know, there's some upcoming events where you can talk to us in person and find out more. Our founder of CipherSoft, Jennifer McNeil, will be speaking at 2 Oracle User Group conferences, the Northern California one August 19th, and then the Rocky Mountain Oracle Users Group August 20th. And then we will be at Oracle Open World in September. We have a booth there. We're there every year there in ODTUG. So definitely, if you're going to be there, come by and see us. We can show you a demo in person. We can talk to you about what are you thinking, where are you going with your Forms applications today? Are you thinking upgrade, or you're trying to decide between upgrading versus conversion? We're more than happy to talk to you, walk you through the options. Make sure that you think about the pros and cons of each approach for you. So again, thanks for participating today, and have a great day. Thanks.